Welcome back to the plenary session, to all the breakout groups. You've already heard some stories, and you've already heard from one half of what's been described as the Lisa Powerhouse. You're about to hear from the second one. So I'd like to welcome Lisa Craine to give our next patient perspective. Thank you, Lisa.
I'd like to read you an excerpt from the journal the day I found out I had cancer. I have cancer, and I can't breathe. I don't want this to be real. Please, just tell me it's a bad dream. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. Am I going to die? Oh God, I'm just so scared. Please help me. My life will never be the same. I want to run away, and maybe this will all just disappear. I can't bear the thought of telling our boys I have cancer. I'm exhausted, and the fear is sucking the life out of me. I want more time. I'm not done being a wife and a mom. Someone, please help me. I remember August of 2010 very well. We had just celebrated our oldest son Jake's high school reunion, or graduation, and we were busy getting him ready for college. We thought he might be lactose intolerant, and so we decided to have him seen by Dr. Arjun Van Kat, a gastroenterologist and a dear friend of our family. While he was examining Jacob, he casually asked me how I was doing. I told him I was tired, but that was to be expected because life was just really busy. He asked me if I had anything else unusual, and I said, today's not about me, it's about our son Jacob. He asked again. Well, I kind of hesitated, and I said, I have this pain underneath my right breast, but I was examined by a breast specialist, and everything was normal. He finished examining our son, he left the room, and he returned to the examining room with a slip for me to have an abdominal ultrasound the next day. I laughed and said, I don't need that, I'm really busy. The next day, I went for the ultrasound over lunch and returned to work. Dr. Van Kat called later that day to say I had a mass on my liver, and from that moment on, our lives changed forever. We're so thankful for Dr. Van Kat's keen diagnostic and caring inquisition of my health. I was quickly referred to Dr. John Fung at the Cleveland Clinic, and the diagnosis was stage 4 intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. We began Googling and researching. Maybe it was a mistake. I didn't fit the typical cholangiocarcinoma patient profile. I didn't have symptoms, I wasn't jaundiced, I was just tired, but I really thought every working mom was tired. We were scared and lost until we clicked on the link to the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation's website. This was the first place that offered our family help and guidance, a place to talk, a place to share with other cholangiocarcinoma patients, and we were exposed to a wealth of knowledge. We gained so much support from patients from all over the world. I truly had found my second family, and a lot of them are here today. I hated that others had this horrible disease, but I was comforted that I no longer felt alone. I went from being a healthy and active 46-year-old to tests, scans, blood work, and even more tests. It seemed as though cancer had overtaken our life, and it had. We were learning a new language with words like bilirubin, liver panel, resection, and CA19-9. Science was never my strong suit, coming from a musical theater background, but I embraced the language in hopes of understanding this very complicated disease. My bilirubin was high, and my CA19-9 was in the thousands. Everything was moving so fast, and I was scheduled for a liver resection the next week. My surgery was 11 and a half hours long, removing 75% of my liver. I needed 14 units of blood, and I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. Surgery was followed by 6 months of 5-FU, and I remember asking my oncologist, am I done with cancer now? And his response was, well, let's keep a close eye on it. This cancer doesn't play nice. 10 weeks later, I had my first recurrence. 2 new tumors appeared on my CT scan, and I was scheduled for my second liver resection. During this surgery, the 2 new tumors were removed, and I had intraoperative radiation. I had several complications after surgery, including a collapsed lung, and I also became septic. At this point, I wasn't sure my body could take much more, but I truly thought I had to keep fighting for my husband and my boys. More chemo was ordered, and I had 6 months of gem cysts. I prayed and I begged God that this would be the last of cancer for me. Unfortunately, several short weeks later, my CA19-9 started to climb, and a CT scan revealed another 2 tumors. We went back to chemo again. This time we tried oxaliplatin, and after 3 months, the scans were disappointing. The tumors were growing, and so we made another switch to Folfox, and after 3 months, the scans showed disease progression. The treatment options were dwindling, and so was our family's hope that I was going to live. My interventional radiologist, Dr. Kevin Stevens, suggested that we try SBRT, and he successfully killed both tumors. 2 additional tumors developed, and Dr. Stevens successfully killed both of those tumors as well. I truly thought that I might finally be done, but I developed my 8th tumor. Dr. Stevens shared that there wasn't a safe pathway to radiate the last tumor. I remember crying and telling him I wasn't ready to give up and to please, please find a way. I'd come this far and I wasn't calling it quits. Well, Dr. Stevens called me 2 weeks later and he said, let's radiate that last tumor. I was so excited to have radiation, and now it's amazing to think that radiation is something to actually be joyful about. I found out later that Dr. Stevens worked for several weeks with the physicist to find a safe pathway, never giving up hope for his patient, me. The Cleveland Clinic is a place of hope for me. Not once in my 6-year journey has any of my medical team taken away our hope. I'm not saying they weren't upfront and honest with us, because they've always presented the facts, but what I'm saying is that the prognosis was always delivered in a very loving and caring way. I've always felt that my doctors are rooting for me. I kind of dubbed the name that they're my survival partners. Phrases my doctors have used are, we still have tools in the toolbox, and whatever it is, we'll deal with it together. My multidisciplinary medical team has become like family. I tell people my favorite men in my life are my husband David, sons Jacob and Noah, Dr. John Fung, Dr. Kevin Stevens, and Dr. Bassam Estefan. These 6 men have cared for me, loved me, encouraged me, and given me hope for over 6 years. I guess you could say they have cared for me, and they've also carried me along the journey. These are all my heroes, but I must share that my husband is my ultimate hero. After taking care of me day and night, never missing an appointment, doing laundry, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, taking care of our boys, working full time, and yes, learning how to blow dry my hair stylishly. I don't think I mentioned I put that in the speech. He once told me it was an honor and a privilege to care for me. He is definitely my heart and my soul. I've been no evidence of disease for several years, but there isn't a day I don't wake up and think about cancer. Cancer is a lifelong diagnosis, and there's never a feeling of being safe. Some days the fear can be paralyzing. Our sons ask their dad on a regular basis if I'm okay. The worry and the anxiety affects our whole family. When I complain of a headache or an ache, I know where my family's mind goes, the same place mine does. Is it cancer? Did it metastasize? Is our mom going to die? Am I going to die? We are a very faith-filled family, and we pray daily for all those affected with cholangiocarcinoma. Someone once told me I could not have faith and fear at the same time. Well, I'm here to tell you it's possible every single day. My husband and love of my life has taught me another important message and motto to live by. We thank God for today, and we ask Him for tomorrow. When I was asked for a title of my speech, I knew immediately it would be The Unexpected Gift of Hope. Unexpected in the diagnosis of a rare disease. unexpected in the blessings I've received along the way, especially all the wonderful friends I've made throughout my illness, unexpected in the appreciation of the precious gift of life, unexpected in the joy of just being, unexpected in being given a gift by God to give others hope. When I was diagnosed, I knew without hope I couldn't have peace. I prayed about how I could give others hope and comfort. And so I began mentoring other cholangiocarcinoma patients in 2012. I felt like the most important thing I could give other patients were love and hope. I recently studied to be a research advocate for patients, so I can help them navigate clinical trials and understand tests and treatments. I've mentored over 120 patients, and I typically have 25 to 30 patients at a time. I love sharing my story and helping others select the pathway to the best possible care. I have several patients I've mentored for over 4 years, and I now call them friends. I have sat with patients in the hospital, at chemo, and at hospice. I've been to far too many funerals, and I've seen way too much loss and way too much grief. Our family is committed to raising crucial cholangiocarcinoma research money and granting it to promising research projects each year. We want to change the current statistics for the bile duct cancer patients. Today and every day, I'm thankful for the gift of being NED, but survivorship comes with its issues too. The side effects of chemotherapies, surgeries, and radiation treatments have created other medical problems for me. I'm determined to improve the quality of life for survivors. I think every major medical center needs to have a few internal medicine doctors within their cancer institute who focus on survivors and the issues they deal with. Doctors who are familiar with the short and long-term side effects of cancer treatments. We all have a responsibility to end this horrible disease. Doctors, researchers, drug companies, and yes, patients are all needed to make a difference. We've come a long way, but we still have a very long way to go. Patients, you might ask, how can I help? You can mentor others, you can raise money, you can volunteer, and you can do all of these things from your home through the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. Everyone in this room can make a positive impact on this disease. So please consider sharing your gifts and hope to others. I'd like to close with a favorite quote by Mother Teresa. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I think it's great to hear the concept of us as clinicians being survival partners, and that's certainly something I'll take forward for the next couple of days.